Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Steelers urged to make George Pickens move to avoid driving him totally cuckoo. The Pittsburgh Steelers have managed to survive without any household names at receiver behind George Pickens this season. Pickens' production has been a big reason why. The 23-year-old has twice as many receptions and receiving yards than any other Steelers wideout this season. Yet, Pickens is still wearing out his welcome in Pittsburgh according to many pundits. This week, TribLive.com's Mark Madden wrote that Pickens isn't very bright and lacks accountability. Pickens' rookie deal doesn't expire until after the 2025 season, but Madden also argued that the Steelers have little choice but to depart with Pickens this upcoming offseason. The Steelers need to draft a receiver, find another in free agency, and ditch Pickens in the offseason, wrote Madden. His contract expires after the 2025 campaign, but extending him for big money would be stupid. Pickens' idiocy too often undoes his ability. Pickens can't be a lame duck on an expiring contract next season. He'd go totally cuckoo. Madden also addressed the notion from Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin that Pickens has a target on his back. Tomlin should note Pickens put that target there himself. It hurts the Steelers, wrote Madden. Pickens got illegally wrenched to the turf prior to Cincinnati's first quarter pick six, but no call. Pickens is a proven pain in the backside that won't get an officiating break. Which further dilutes what Pickens does. Pickens once again led the Steelers in receiving yards during Week 13. But as Madden noted, he lost 15 yards on penalties twice, after his second and third catches of the afternoon. Furthermore, Pickens may have been fortunate to avoid a third foul. After scoring a touchdown on his first reception, he kicked the ball into the crowd. The officials didn't call a penalty. When Pickens has been in hot water in the past, Tomlin has offered his full support. Most notably, Tomlin didn't cater to media and fan demand to bench Pickens after the receiver admitted to not blocking to avoid getting hurt during last year's Week 15 contest against the Indianapolis Colts. Pickens rewarded Tomlin and the Steelers for their support. In their next game, Pickens posted a career-high 195 receiving yards with 2 touchdowns. But after committing 2 penalties versus the Cincinnati Bengals on December 1, Tomlin showed a little more tough love to the Steelers' number 1 wideout. "He's just got to grow up, man. It's an emotional game," Tomlin told reporters after Week 13. "These divisional games are big. He's got a target on his back because he's George. He understands that. But he has to grow up. He has to grow up in a hurry." As Madden argued, though, that target didn't just appear by accident. Pickens has gained a reputation around the league as a malcontent. On the field, he also seems to have gained notoriety for his physicality. Neither looks favorably in the eyes of the officials. It leads to either Pickens getting penalties that maybe he shouldn't or him not drawing calls against the opposing defense. Steelers' Mike Tomlinson sounds like he would love to coach Tee Higgins next season. Pittsburgh Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin had some high praise for Cincinnati Bengals star wide receiver Tee Higgins after Pittsburgh's 44-38 victory over the Bengals in Week 13. Higgins had 5 receptions for 69 yards and a touchdown in the game, and he was one of Cincinnati's highest-graded players from the contest. Steelers cornerback Joey Porter Jr. spent most of his afternoon shadowing Higgins up and down the field, and he was called for several penalties for getting a little too physical with Cincinnati's star receiver. While discussing the Steelers' defensive approach in the game, Tomlin compared Higgins to a dominant NBA legend. "When we play Shaquille O'Neal, we're going to use our fouls," Tomlin said. That's a major compliment from Tomlin, as O'Neal was the most dominant player in the NBA during his peak playing days, and his presence demanded a lot of physical attention. That's clearly where the comparison comes in. Tomlin elaborated a bit on Pittsburgh's plan when it came to defending Higgins. "T is a goon. You cannot let a dude like that beat you up," Tomlin said. you gotta match the fire with the fire. You hope you do it clean enough that it doesn't draw a bunch of penalties. We weren't as successful in that regard today. We'll keep working, but one thing we're not going to do is let that guy goon us. Tomlin's vocabulary is awesome, first of all. Second, he certainly sounds like a guy who would love to coach Higgins next season, and who could blame him. Higgins has proven to be an extremely productive player over his first 5 seasons in the league, and he would be a major weapon for any offense that he's added to. Higgins will be a free agent over the offseason, and the Steelers have been floated as a potential landing spot for the sure-handed receiver. This makes Tomlin's comments especially intriguing. Plus, if Higgins defected from Cincinnati to Pittsburgh, he wouldn't have to move too far. Obviously, it remains to be seen if the Steelers would actually be interested in Higgins in free agency, or if Higgins would want to play in Pittsburgh. One thing is for sure though, seeing Higgins in the black and yellow would be a tough pill to swallow for Bengals fans. Beat writer named Steelers Arthur Smith dark horse for Jets HC job. If the Pittsburgh Steelers keep putting up offensive showings like they did Sunday against the Cincinnati Bengals, Arthur Smith could be one and done for the best possible reasons, potentially headed to the New York Jets. Already a rumored name ahead of off-season coaching hires, and Jets beat writer Rich Cimini named Smith as a dark horse candidate for their head coach opening once the team's official search gets underway next year. Another name to watch, he's kind of a dark horse candidate, Cimini said on his Flight Deck podcast Thursday. Arthur Smith, currently the Steelers' offensive coordinator. He was one of the runner-ups to Saleh in 2021. As Cimini notes, Smith was a candidate for the Jets job in 2021, losing out to Robert Saleh. The team announced their interview with him in January of 2021 before hiring Saleh 3 days later. Saleh was fired mid-season after the Jets' poor start. The organization has been in flux all season, firing GM Joe Douglas weeks later, and are one of the NFL's biggest disappointments of the year. Cimini also noted the Jets wanted to hire Arthur Smith as an offensive consultant to aid OC Nathaniel Hackett. But the Steelers swooped in to give him the keys to their vacant coordinator job. That never really got seriously close to happening because he knew he was going to go to Pittsburgh. Hackett remains on staff but was demoted from his play-calling position in early October as Saleh was being let go. Reports indicate Saleh intended to fire Hackett but was canned before that could occur. Reporters expect the Jets to look for an offensive-minded coach after hiring the defensive background Saleh, the San Francisco 49ers defensive coordinator before taking the New York job. Smith has proven to be a capable offensive coordinator and worked well building up struggling quarterbacks. In Tennessee, Ryan Tannehill was named Comeback Player of the Year. In Pittsburgh, Justin Fields and Russell Wilson look far better than they did a season ago. Smith also brings head coaching experience. He spent 2021 to 2023 with the Atlanta Falcons, and though he didn't have success, that experience could be attractive to the organization. I'm not saying he's a front-runner, but he is an interesting name, Cimini said. While Smith has noted he intends to be careful in choosing another head coaching gig, he did answer Thursday when asked by reporters what he'll remember about Pittsburgh when he gets another chance to lead a team. And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Arthur Smith? Leave your opinion in the comments.